Howdy, folks. It's Adriel, the hunting gear guy. The Liberal Party of Government, which is Canada's federal government, has just released or announced a new bit of legislation they're pushing through. And one thing that wasn't really expected with it is that they're putting a freeze on handguns. It's not a ban, but it's kind of a ban. It's not grandfathering, but it totally is grandfathering. Anyone who has a handgun right now, whatever they got, that's what they get to keep. And if you want to buy a new one or sell or transfer, tough luck. Now, they've told us this is going to happen soon. They said it was going to happen instantly, but it didn't happen instantly. So maybe it's going to happen with the legislation. Not really sure about that. But in any case, a lot of people who had their RPAL and no handgun all of a sudden really, really wanted one because they were basically told they weren't going to be able to have one. So they all went and bought a handgun. And I actually helped a couple of my friends buy their first handgun. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about this whole concept because really what this amounts to is a forever gun, a forever handgun, what is the ideal handgun to pick if your handgun is going to be the only one you can have. So before I get into that, I just want to talk to you about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Snake on the Nokia 3390. Snake, it's fast-paced. You can evolve your character as you level up, as you play. It can be multiplayer. You can transfer the phone between different people. And it's fun to try to beat your high score from before. So Snake on the Nokia 3390. Try it today. And back to the video at hand, how to choose the right handgun. So there's a couple different realities about owning a handgun in Canada. One, they're all long barrel because in the 90s we had the government of the day, which was the Liberals again. They wanted to get rid of the Saturday night specials, so all the short barreled stuff went. So now all we have is long barrel stuff, 4 inches and up kind of a thing. And 4.4, I don't know, it doesn't matter. And so they're all long barrel, and you can only, based on what we have for ATTs right now, you can only take them to the range and back. You can't take them for gallivanting in the woods to go hunting small game or large game or any game. So they're really limited on use. So we got to think about that. What can you use a handgun for? You can take it to the range and target practice. You can collect, but you don't want to. You don't want to collect because if you collect, then there's some different storage regulations and the cops can come take a look at your collection anytime, that kind of thing. You do want to target shoot and actually use your purchase. So that's the category you want to go for. And in my opinion, target shooting at a static line is boring. Just sitting there cranking off rounds at a steel or a paper target. It's not exciting. I prefer to do competition. You don't have to be good to compete. It's like golf. It's like, imagine a driving range. Driving range is like you just sitting at the line just shooting, and playing an actual round of golf is a shooting match, either IPSC or IDPA or 3-gun, whatever your flavor is. So they're a lot more fun. I think they're a better way to enjoy handguns and the shooting sports in Canada. So I think that if you're going to buy a handgun and it is your only one handgun, consider whether you're going to be shooting any competitions in the future. Even if you don't today and you could only buy one handgun, I'd strongly recommend going for something that can be used for a competition. So a couple things to consider. Another one, cheap ammo. If you buy something in some crazy snowflake caliber like 454 Castle or something like that, you're just not going to shoot it very often. It's just going to collect dust on your shelf, and then when the Liberals come and take it, it's just going to be gone, and it's not going to be that big of a deal because you didn't really like it anyways. Buy something in 9mm. 9mm is cheap, it's plentiful, and it's by far the most common here in Canada. If you never want a competition shoot, or you just want something light and you don't like the recoil, get a 22 handgun. But I'm just going to talk about centerfire 9mm handguns today. There are some 22 options out there. They're a little bit easier to find. So primarily I just want to talk about 9mm handguns. A couple other things to consider. If that frame breaks, you're screwed. If that frame breaks, you have to be able to repair it, or it's just gone. You're not going to be able to send your frame for warranty to the States. That's a one-way trip. We're probably never going to be able to get warranty or frames repaired again, unless you can DIY it at home. Maybe with a gunsmith. I don't know if they're going to allow that in the future or not. Maybe, but just consider the repairability, the durability. The aftermarket support is important as well. What happens if you need to replace the springs on it because you shot it so much that the recoil springs need to be replaced? You got to think about that and think about what you need to do on that gun. And if you don't like it, can you modify it? Are there parts out there to modify it to make it do what you want it to do? So those are other things to consider as well. So I'm going to talk about a couple of guns that I think, and in no particular order, you can choose what you like out of this list. My number one that I've been recommending people get is a CZ Shadow 1 or 2. They're nice and heavy, which makes them really great for target practice and really great for IPSC and that kind of thing. These things are ideal for the production division in IPSC. I think the Shadow 2 might be too heavy for IDPA. So consider if just check around your area, see what kind of competitions there are and what kind of matches there are, and consider that. This gun's empty, and they all are. And I clear them beforehand, but I like to show you guys as well. It's very heavy. It's got all kinds of mods available. So if you want to like change the grip color and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy to do. And they're just a really fantastic pistol for competition shooting and just shooting at the range. They're just great. So that's really my number one recommendation. Beyond that, like a Glock 17 would be ideal because a Glock 17 can be used in IPSC, IDPA, that kind of a thing. There's a Glock 34, so it can still be used in IPSC, but just in standard division. So it's not quite as competitive in that division. Usually you got heavier guns with better triggers and stuff like that, even though the Zev this thing has a Zev trigger and all that kind of stuff. Glocks are extremely reliable. Tons of aftermarket support on them. Very durable guns. Great for your forever gun. The next kind of gun to consider is a good old standby 1911. 1911's the aftermarket is unparalleled. You can get everything for these things. The different triggers, different everything. All the parts on this thing are swappable. The frame's steel, so maybe there's some repairability in there that you wouldn't get at a plastic. Maybe you'd be able to like fix a broken frame or something like that you might not be able to do on a polymer pistol. And as you can see, you can do all sorts. This was a Noriko 1911, and it still is, but it's got a lot of parts changed out on it and a lot of things that have changed. So in terms of aftermarket, fantastic on the 1911. Shootability, fantastic. The triggers on them are awesome. The tunability, fantastic. A little bit more futzing around, though, to get them that way. Whereas a Glock will just work out of the box, though not quite as good. And a Shadow, of course, will work out of the box as well. And then my last recommendation, and it's not one that I own, is a SIG P320. I was looking for these, but they sold out really quick. And the reason why I'd recommend the SIG P320, it was chosen as the U.S. military new pistol that they're going to be using. Was it chosen by the Canadian? It might have been chosen by the Canadians as well, or it's going to be chosen by the Canadians. And why this matters is that in the U.S., it's very common that, ex-servicemen come out and they want to buy the same gear that they had in the Army because they're trained on it and they like it, and they'll buy a bunch of P320s. The aftermarket for these things is already starting to heat up. It's a pretty new gun, but it's already starting to heat up. It's already going to be a great platform with lots of support, lots of aftermarket available for it. And it's going to be a good choice. What not to get? Don't get something in a weird caliber. Don't get something that is just going to be a showpiece. Unless you want to. It's just going to collect dust, though. You're just going to have a pistol sitting in your safe just collecting dust. You'll pull it out once in a while to show some buddies. You'll never take it to the range. You'll never enjoy it for what it's made to do, shoot fast. And really that's what I enjoy doing with my pistols is competition shooting because they're great for it. All these pistols all have like decent barrels on them. They're all pretty heavy. They all got a little bit of weight on them, and they're fun to shoot at the range. And really, I think that if more people out there enjoy their time at the range, we're going to make this easier to hold on to these handguns for longer, and maybe even reverse this crappy legislation and get back to enjoying and letting more new people into the sport. So as of today, we have no idea when the transfer freeze is going to happen. It may happen anytime. They can just OIC this, so we don't know when it's going to happen. I would strongly recommend that if you have an RPAL, but you have never bought a pistol, pick carefully and pick quick because that transfer ban is coming. Thanks for watching.